This week, we're going to go over how to improve both kicks in butterfly. We're going to talk about why both kicks are important, why sometimes our training activities tend to overlook one of the kicks, and we'll go over a simple change and a simple solution to ensure that you're addressing both kicks in your butterfly training so that your swimmers can optimize their butterfly speed. Now, the role of the kick. Butterfly kick obviously produces propulsion. That's not necessarily what we're going to focus on here. That is an important aspect, just not what we're working on with this skill. So, butterfly creates a lot of drag, and that's because swimmers have to recover both arms over the surface of the water. And as one thing goes up over the surface of the water, guess what? That body's going down unless swimmers do something about it. And the more the body goes down, the more drag they're going to create. And so the kick functions to lift the hips in the water. And that's key because when those arms are recovering, they're pushing the hips down. And so if swimmers can counteract that, they're going to create less drag, they're going to create more speed. And there's 2 times in the stroke that the legs kick in order to get the hips up. One is as the arms recover. And so if we look on this image on the right, you can see that the arms are about to recover and the swimmer is kicking down to get the hips up so that the arms can clear the surface, and it also keeps the hips up higher as the arms are recovering over the surface. Then, because the recovery is probably going to drop the hips because the arms are over the surface, the second kick, we see that on the picture on the left, functions to get the hips back up in the beginning of the stroke. And so if the hips never go up, it's going to be really hard to recover the arms, and it's going to create a ton of drag. And then if the hips don't come back up in the front of the stroke, it's also going to continue to create a lot of drag. And so both kicks are really important in order to create speed through minimizing drag. What's important to consider though, and you can take a look at these pictures to see this, is that the kick happens in a very different position. If we look on the left, the butterfly kick happens when the head is down and the body is moving straighter through the water. In the second picture, the kick happens when the chest and the head are up out of the water and the body is at an angle. And so to be effective, that kick is going to have to interact differently with the water. And so these are 2 pretty different kicks. It's the same basic kicking action, but it's performed in a very different way for a very different purpose. Therefore, swimmers need to learn the skill to kick in both positions. So what mistakes are coaches making in their butterfly training kicking? Often, it's not improving both kicks. So some coaches really love to use kickboards for obvious reasons. But think about the position swimmers are in when they're dolphin kicking on the board. It looks much like the picture on the bottom. The hips are down, the head is up, and they're moving the body through the water in that position. Really effective for training the second kick, not as effective for training the first kick. And some coaches tend to avoid kickboards completely because they don't like the impact on body position. And so they have athletes that are kicking in a relatively horizontal position as they move through the water, much like that picture on the top. Really effective for helping swimmers learn to kick well in a way that's similar to that first kick in the stroke. If you do one but not the other, you're probably compromising the skill of simultaneously creating propulsion and lifting the hips to minimize drag. Either kicking with the head down or with the head up exclusively only is training one kick. And the skills are actually pretty different because body position can have a major impact on how they're able to move water backwards with the feet and how they're able to lift the hips with the feet. It's definitely a different skill, and there's also probably a slightly different fitness component because the systems that are used are going to be slightly different. Swimmers need to be able to do both and do both well in order to maximize their speed in butterfly. Focusing on one but not the other isn't going to get it done. So what's the solution? Kick in both positions. You want to devote attention to both kicking positions, and you want to train both positions. And so you want to work when the head's down, and so that can be snorkel with your arms in front. That can be snorkel with your arms by your side. That could be snorkel in a kickboard. It could even be kicking with the head down and then lifting it up periodically to breathe, although that's going to be a little bit more challenging from an air perspective. But anything where the head's down in your dolphin kicking is going to be effective. And you need to work the kick when the head is up. You can go surf kick with the arms out in front. It doesn't really matter. You just need to practice both kicks, and you need to train both kicks. Do some endurance work, do some speed work, do some racing stuff. It's important to use both kicks and be efficient and competent in both kicks because that's going to give swimmers the best chance to execute those skills when they swim butterfly. If the legs have developed the skill to effectively interact with the water in both positions and develop the fitness to sustain those skills, swimmers are going to be a lot better off than if they just do one or the other. Now, just practicing these skills isn't enough. You actually have to train it. So what does that mean? One, start adding speed, builds, descends, just going fast, best average, doesn't matter. Start adding volume, do more of it, go longer, challenge the repetition distances, train it from an endurance perspective. Another big strategy is to actually mix it in with butterfly so swimmers can learn how to execute these kicks while swimming butterfly. If you do a lot of work focusing on kicking with your head up, they're probably going to be able to feel that second kick a little bit better. Likewise, if you do a lot of kicking with the head down, they're probably going to become more aware of that first kick and be better able to transition and transfer that skill into full stroke swimming, which is what it's all about. Kick against resistance, you'll help develop strength, and you'll help them feel what they're doing with their kick in both positions. Use drag socks, same thing. It's going to create more resistance on the feet, develop more strength, develop more fitness, develop more awareness. It's also beneficial to alternate the kicking styles. One, because that's going to challenge their skills. They're going to have to shift back and forth. But two, that's what happens in butterfly swimming. They have to be effective in both within one single stroke cycle. So switching it up is going to improve their skill because they have to constantly adapt and also train them to be able to do what they need to do when it matters. You can also do different types of resisted kicking, such as wall kick or tombstone kick, where they hold the kickboard out in front, and you can just have them go with the head down, go with the head up, go with the head down, go with the head up. And you can have them alternate on a pretty regular basis, and they can start to feel how their hip position changes and how the kick changes right away. And so those are great ways to help swimmers learn and train these skills, progressing it over time, just like you would any sort of training. Here are two simple sets to show you how you can improve both kicks and butterfly. First one is purely kick-based. You can go 1050s, odd dolphin kick with a board, descend 1 to 5. Evens, dolphin kick with a board and a snorkel, descend 1 to 5. Second round is faster. So kind of pure basic kick set, but you're getting a little bit more skill work and you're making sure that you're addressing both of these kicks over time. So when it's dolphin kick with a board, the head's going to be up, the hips are going to be down a little bit more. You're going to be working that second kick. With a snorkel, the head's going to be down, head's going to be in line. You're going to be working that first kick. Both are important. Both need to be developed. This set gets that done. Second set, we're working on a little bit more of integrating into butterfly. And so they're going 100 dolphin kick with a snorkel. So now we're working that first kick with the head down, floating 50 fast by round. So round 1, the first 50, round 2, the middle 50, round 3, the last 50, and then 225s butterfly strong, really trying to feel that first kick. Then we go 100 kick with a board. So now the head's up, hips are down, we're moving through the water at an angle. Again, floating 50 fast kick. First 50, middle 50, last 50. And then again, 225s, butterfly strong, trying to feel that second kick. Super basic set in both cases. It's just demonstrating the importance and the ease of training both types of positions so you can train both types of kicks. And that way, swimmers are going to have a more comprehensive and a more skillful butterfly, and they're going to be fit to do it because they've done the work to develop the fitness to hold both skills. So another example of identifying a skill that needs to be improved and finding a strategy that you can integrate into your training plan to develop that skill over time. It doesn't have to be complicated. As always, just keep it simple and let the task do the teaching.